Alright. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is Argent Saga coming at y'all today with a late night finish up video, pretty much. This is going to cover all of our Argent Rares for each attribute, and I'm going to get into the box toppers. So, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. If y'all want to get a friendly discussion going down below in the comments, I'm all about it. And, yeah, so we're going to start right off. So, our first card. So we're going to start off with the Fire Argent Rares. This is Bahamut Dragonic Deity. He is an 8-drop, 5,000 unit legendary dragon. So he has the legendary mechanic, so you can only have one copy of him in your deck. His abilities state that he has quickness, so he can attack right when he comes out or use rest abilities. He costs 2 less to play if you have 5 or more dragon units with different names in your discard zone. So if it's late game, essentially the best time to play him. He's a 6-drop for 5,000 with quickness, which is already really good, and he has an arrival, expel target unit, and if you do, deal 2,000 to each unit that's adjacent to it. So this card, essentially on turn 6, can get rid of potentially 3 cards and deal a damage for 5,000 power. This card's great. This card's going to see a lot of play. I think red's probably going to be a little bit more of a mid-rangey type deck, but compared to an aggro deck. But I think this card would be really good and definitely goes at the top of that deck. So next up, and I like this card a whole lot. I'm going to make so many red decks just around this archetype, but it's a Rayona the Phoenix. So it has synergies with the super rare Rayona. It's a 6-drop, 4,000 or 4K unit legendary Phoenix. So again, you can only have one copy of it in your deck. Has an arrive, deal 15 to all units your opponent control. So that this by itself for 6 can just be a board wipe in Fire, which is definitely something that they kind of need. And has a ruin that you can shuffle this card into its owner's deck. So with Rayona, you can essentially just keep getting this card out. And this card's probably a little bit better than Bahamut, but that's just because you can constantly keep repeating it, and it's just a constant board wipe. So definitely not a bad card. I have a few ideas I want to make with it, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So next up, we have one of my favorite ones, and it's really biased just because I love the air attribute. But this is a Konost, the Aerial Fortress. It is a 7-drop, 4K unit legendary airship. So again, you can only have one copy of it in your deck. Has Guardian, which is really good. It reads, units in front of this card cannot attack and have minus 2,000. So I'm guessing 2,000 power, obviously. But that being said, if you put this in front of something, it can kill something and units in front of it can't attack, which makes it real good. You can pretty much almost lock out 2, maybe even 3 board spaces between this and blockade units, or the blockade airship. And it also reads, once per turn, you can return another air unit you control to its owner's hand. This card is unaffected by spells. So, not ability, sadly, but this card is really strong, I think, because it can get around a lot of blue's removal. If you play this against blue, you're almost guaranteed to win. Keyword almost. But this card's great. The fact that it's 7's a little much, but you can make it with, between engineers and aviators to make it a lot cheaper, or you can use E-Tan, sacrifice the 6-drop airship to bring it in and just mess with people from there. This one I think is also going to see a little bit more play, but this is a Sylphia. Spirit of Air is a 4-drop, 2,500 unit legendary elemental. So it's not a bird, just an elemental, which I think is cool. And it has an arrive, choose even or odd. Your opponent places all of their units with the chosen cost on the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. So this card is essentially a board wipe in air, and I think it's kind of what air also needed. I think giving board wipes in every color is pretty decent, just to kind of balance it out and help them get ahead. And I think this card is definitely really good. I think this card will definitely see play. And I think this card's pretty much staple in almost anything that can run win, at least with E-Tan being the main champion. So next up, we have a Patriarch of the Golems. It is a 7-drop, 5K unit legendary golem. It has Destroyer, so when it attacks, it'll destroy 2 towers. And it also states this card costs 1 less for each card, 1 less to play for each card discarded from your opponent's hand by your effects this turn. So the more you discard, the cheaper this guy gets, which can be pretty good. I imagine like over the course of the game, he can probably get really small. And then he also has an effect of discard one golem unit from your hand. Target unit gets minus X 1,000 power, where X is the discarded cost. So you can discard a golem of I think it's Vengeance is a 6-drop, and you can give something minus 6 from what it's reading. So this card's pretty great. I definitely think this is probably like the top of your curve when it comes to the Golem decks. I think it'll see play, but the next one I can guarantee you we see play in everything, or every dark deck. And that is the Philosopher's Stone. So I like the Full Metal Alchemist reference, for anyone who watches it. So this one is a 2-drop Augment Legendary Stone, so not a creature, so it goes into your Augment slot. And it has an arrive, expel all Golem units in your discard zone, and place 1 counter for each, on this card for each that you removed. And then it reads, exhaust, remove any number of counters from this card, search your deck for a dark unit with cost equal to the number of counters removed, and put it into play. At the end of turn, if this card has no counters, sacrifice it. So this card is really good either late game or even early game. You can pretty much tutor out almost anything in your deck. If you, like, let's say you have 6 golems in your discard, you'll expel 6. You can exhaust this to search out a 6-drop, or 3 2-drops, or 2 3-drops, or 4 and a 2, or just a bunch of different options. And just this card's just really good. I feel like if we ever get like a proliferate or like a mechanic that like adds counters to things, this card will definitely this card will be broken. But I definitely think that this card's going to see a lot of play. I think this card's going to be one of the more expensive cards out of the set, just because it's essentially a tutor. And as of right now, I don't think there are many just straight generic tutors in the game. So this card's really good. Next up, we have Brant, the Wicked Judge. It's also one of my favorite artworks in the game so far. It's a 5-drop, 2,500 unit legendary knight. So he is knight, so he has a bunch of knight synergies. This card reads, this card gets plus 500 for each of your opponent's destroyed towers. So the farther along in the game you are, the bigger this guy gets. And if you have 2 or less towers remaining, this card gains quickness and cannot be targeted by spells. So this guy can be really good on turn 5. Can be just, I imagine if you have 3 towers broken, which is probably where you want to be, it's a 4K for 5 with quickness, implying that they've destroyed 2 of your towers. And that's implying that like they're both like steadily just, or you both are just steadily breaking towers back and forth. But definitely not a bad card. I definitely think we'll see some amount of play. But I love this card. I think this card is also going to see a lot of play, especially with the box topper 4 light that we'll get into later in the video. I think this card's great. And I also just love it because, another bias thing, I like turtles and elephants. And by God, this man's riding an elephant, so you know it's great. I'm going to butcher his name, though, so get ready. It's Iskandar? Ishkanard? No, not Ishkanard. Iskandar. I don't know. The Mythical King. He is a 10-drop 4K unit legendary knight, so he's absolutely gigantic. He has Destroyer, so whenever he attacks, he destroys 2 towers at a time. He costs 1 less for each gear in your discard zone. So, like, you can supply deal. You can, I believe, marks. It's either marksman or, like, sharpshooter in light that you can discard gears and ping things, so definitely not bad. And it has an arrive target up to 2 different gears in your discard zone equipped into this card. So later in the game, depending on how much you can drop this guy for, you can just essentially get rid of your gears to make him better. I imagine you could probably attach the spear, which is a rare, to like remove it to deal 15 to other things to make him even better. And then he also reads, so he has like 4 effects, and it's just incredible, or like 4 big lines of text. And then he reads, expel a gear equipped to this card, expel target unit. So essentially what this card reads is it has Destroyer, can cost less with gears in your discard. You can equip 2 gears from your discard zone to this card, and you can expel 2 things. Like this card's a absolute house. This card will see play in everything. And I don't think I actually mentioned it, but I think all these cards are going to see play in both formats, whether they be Constructed or the Betrayal format, I think if you pull them, you should definitely be running them in your colors because they're all really great. And pretty much any Argent rare, as long as it's in your colors, you should be running it. At least from what I've been seeing. So that was our light one. Next up, we have Leviathan, the Ancient Serpent. This is one of their like flagship like card arts that I've seen, and they picked a really good one. Also, a little bit of flavor text. Leviathan is the blue dragon, and it's fighting Bahamut. So I thought that was really cool. But it's a 7-drop 4K unit legendary serpent, and it has 3 abilities. Has Guardian, so it can block things. Destroyer, so it can attack 2 towers. And Arrive, you take control of target unit. So I think around this point of the game, if you hardcast this bad boy, you'll be able to take something pretty relevant, pretty big. I imagine you can probably take another one of their Argent rares. Like, you get to turn 7 and you take a Konost. Like, that's going to be really good. Or you take a Bahamut, and that's going to be really good. So, anywho, back to Leviathan. I think it's a real good card. I definitely think this card's going to see play in both formats, no matter what. Plus, I mean, it's like their flagship monster, so I definitely think the card's really good. Next up, and this card's a house. I've already have like so many build arounds I want to do with this card, and I feel like a lot of the community already does as well. But this is Mei Yu Grand Sorceress, so she's like the main leader of the entire Water Towers. Plus, she's riding a turtle, so God bless turtles. Anywho, so she's a 6-drop, 3,500 unit legendary sorceress. And she has an Arrive, so whenever she enters the field, you can return target spell in your discard zone to your hand. If you do, the next spell you cast cost is 0. So, the best imaginable thing I've figured out is essentially you can, like, throughout the game, if you're a Jamal deck, you can pitch, like, a Chronostasis, and, like, Mei Yu, add back Chronostasis, and as long as it's the next spell you cast, Chronostasis costs 0. Or stasis cost 0, and I think that's just bonkers. And then it has another effect, which pretty much pushes her over the edge whenever it comes to her power level. It's once per turn, when you play a card with Shard Drain, or use the Shard Drain ability, return target other unit to the top of its owner's library. So it has to be something different than this. So I think that this card's really good. I think you can just make a strictly Shard Drain deck, and like have that be like your main like synergies and whatnot with Mei Yu between the Jamal unit, the Silencer, Ancient Serpent's Breath. There's I know we went over some yesterday, but just a bunch of cards that you can run with it. I think this card's gonna be really good. I like the fact that it's also when you cast something with Shard Drain, and if you use the Shard Drain, it's just real dumb. So she's real good. That's probably going to be like one of the, if not the money card, then one of the money cards in the set. So next up, we have our Argent rares. This is Argent. Anywho, it's Arianna's Amulet. So interesting that they're giving Arianna some character key cards. So, but it's a 1-drop augment legendary amulet, and it has an Arrive, so draw a card, which is pretty good. You get to cycle through, and then sacrifice is called All Spirits lose all abilities until the end of turn. Ooh wee, good lord. So this card's really good. I think it can definitely see sideboard play no matter what. Honestly, it might be able to see mainboard play, and we'll get in a little bit later in the video when we get to our box toppers, because this card has synergy with it. But I think this card's real good. I think that this card's going to see play in almost everything. And another card that's going to see play in almost everything is a Professor Rudy Magical Engineer. Man, my stutter's acting up. I'm sorry, everybody. But it is a 3-drop 2K unit legendary professor, and it just has one simple ability. It is your Arrive effects trigger twice. So this card's a staple in Darkness. You can Golem of Jealousy to draw 2 cards. I think it's Avarice, the 3-drop one that you essentially get to discard, 2 cards out of your opponent's hand. I can't even emphasize how great this card is, and I think it's going to see a lot of play, and also a lot of water decks. Like, this card's just real good. It's going to see play no matter what. I also think this guy's going to see play. He's also going to be a promo eventually. I don't know when. I know Jim's already said it, But anywho, so this is a Twilight Night. It is a 6-drop, 3k unit legendary knight with Destroyer, so when it attacks towers, it attacks 2 at a time. And it has an Arrive, destroy target unit with Guardian, and if you do, this card gains Quickness. So it can get rid of a blocker, it'll gain Quickness, and it has the threat of pretty much being able to destroy 2 towers, which is real good. So I don't think the card's going to see constructed play, and probably, and actually no, that's not probably, he's going to see play in Betrayal format. But I'm noticing that like once you get to like after like 5 or 6 mana, like you have to be really careful, because like if they rip into any of the Argent Rares or even any of like the 5 and plus cards, like the game's going to be decided, like almost guaranteed then. Like it was already kind of is now, because like if you're playing blue and the first person to hit Stormcaster pretty much wins, like them hitting almost any one of like these big drop cards is gonna catapult them ahead when it comes to card advantage and just winning, at least most of the time, but definitely not a bad card. So those are all of our Argent Rares. And now we're going to get into our box toppers. So all of our box toppers are champions. So we get to see our second champions. It's one of each color. Our first one is Arianna, Adventurer of Argos. So the Arianna that has the synergies with Kala is now a champion as an addition to a unit. So she reads, at the start of the game after mulligans, you can add 1 Kala Trusted Companion and or 1 Arianna's Amulet from your deck and put him in your hand. So when you're done mulliganing, you get to start the game essentially with 7 cards in your hand. That's a Kala and an Arianna's Amulet. So you have a guaranteed turn 1 play, a guaranteed turn 2 play, and a semi-guaranteed turn 3 play, because you can, I imagine you'll hopefully try and hard mulligan into the 3-drop Arianna. If not, you'll get 2 cards, you'll be able to draw for turn, and then draw off of the Amulet. And then draw on the turn that you play Kala. So you can essentially dig 3 to 4 cards deep, just to make sure that you get the Arianna for the turn 3 play. So pretty decent curving out for this card. I don't know if there's going to be more synergy with her, maybe in set 2. I don't think she's bad, but like, I don't know. I think compared to Etan does a little bit more, but definitely not a bad card. Next up, we have Aron, the Golden Rose. And he has a very simple ability, but this ability is really powerful, and I think it's going to make him a little bit more favored compared to Liam. And it's really simple. It's exhaust, discard 1 knight unit, or gear from your hand, exhaust target unit. So he'll fill up the graveyard for Ishkandar, or I believe that's his name, or I believe I pronounced it right. Anywho. But it's also knight or gear units, so you can just make like a straight up knight gears deck and just like never let your opponent play the game, or like tap down all their guardians and just swing out. So definitely a good card. I think it's a little bit better than Liam. Yes, Liam gives you a little bit more of a toolboxy effect, but this can actually just catapult you into winning games. So definitely not a bad card. Next one, we have Eggon, the Tragic Gargoyles. So if any of y'all watch the other videos, y'all know I love gargoyles. And I love that it's like a theme going on in Darkness. So like, this is real cool. But he has 2 abilities. He has an exhaust, so whenever you you'll tap him, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the discard zone. So you'll self-mill yourself for 2, which is pretty good. And then he has an exhaust, pay 1, put target unit from your discard zone to the top of your deck. So essentially how I see it is you'll probably want to draw your card for turn, exhaust, mill 2. And then if you mill something that you need, you can exhaust, pay 1, put it to the top of the deck. That way you can draw next turn. So it pretty much makes your discard zone a second hand, in a sense. And I think that's really good for a Darkness one. Do I think we'll see play over Hoenna? I don't know. I know there's been some talks in like a few of the groups that he's really good. Like apparently I believe it was John Trotta's list that he was trying out. It's in the Facebook page, so if you're not part of it, go look. But he made a Ergon Kite deck, and it's in my favorite color combination, so I'm going to try it out. But it just seems like just a bunch of like value cards, and you just like recycle them all. So definitely not a bad card. I think it will definitely see some play. Next up, we have Mournful Commander, and it has Exhaust, expel up to 2 target units from your hand. Deal damage to target unit equal to the number of cards expelled times 500. So, there's a big commotion about this card, and essentially what it means, if you expel 2, you get to deal 500 per card that you expel. So since you're expelling, so if you expel 2, you deal 1,000 to something. If you exhaust and expel 1, you deal 500 to something. So, like, it's not the best. It's also not the worst. Do I think Dragoholt's a lot better? Yes. Do I think that you can maybe make a deck around exhaust and expelling a card from your hand and like to deal damage and then like Corona to finish stuff off? Yes. Are you wasting a whole lot of card advantage in order for you to do that? Yes. So that's my biggest thing. I think you're just wasting too much like card advantage for him to be really good. But he might see play later on, and he might be really good later on. I'm not too sure. But as of right now, he's probably like the worst box topper to get. But I'll still try and get one just for collecting reasons. And last one, I believe, yes. So this is our last card we will be reviewing. And so this is Gillian? I don't know. The Witch Queen. She is the water champion, as you can tell. And she has Exhaust, reveal any number of spells from your hand. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a spell with cost equal to or less than the number of cards revealed from your hand, add it to your hand. So this would probably be the champion for the spell slinging deck I mentioned a little earlier, or in a few videos ago. But I don't know, either that or Jamila, because Jamila is just like a straight like consistency engine compared to this. But this card's also not bad. You essentially, if you can stack your deck in the right way, this card essentially lets you to draw a card depending on how many spells you have in your hand. It's definitely not bad, but I don't know. I think Jamile just kind of gets the job done a little better. But again, that's just me. So, but I post my opinions out there, and I'd like to get friendly discussions to bounce ideas off people. So, but yeah, those are our box topper champions and all of our Argent Rares. That concludes our Set 1 Betrayal card set review. Let me know what y'all think. Let's get a friendly discussion going down below. I'm gonna try and get out a match video probably around Wednesday, and then try and go from there. Maybe make some more content in between. And then I'm gonna definitely try and do if not a guide, then like how I did at a pre-release and like what I would do for it. So, but again, that's just what I want. If anybody has suggestions or like what they want to see, please feel free to comment on any of the videos. I'll check it and I'll make content. So, but anywho, y'all have a great night, great day, whenever you watch this. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.